Learning can take place anywhere, at home, in school, online, in bed, and right here. You can follow all of our social medias at the end of this video, and we hope you enjoy.
Hi, we are United Tutoring, an organization where tutors volunteer to teach underprivileged kids and help them reach their full potential. Today we will be focusing on multiplying and dividing mixed numbers and complex fractions. So our objective today is to multiply and divide mixed numbers, to translate phrases to expressions with fractions, to simplify complex fractions, and to simplify expressions written with the fraction bar. So when multiplying or dividing mixed numbers, it's a good idea to convert fractions to their improper form first. For example, here 1 2/3 would be converted to 5/3. So this is an example. Step 1 says to convert fractions to their improper form. Step 2 says to multiply or divide, and step 3 is to simplify if possible. So here we have 1 4/5 times 2 2/3, and we have their improper versions over here. Now, before multiplying, you can cross-simplify. So here you can simplify 9 and 3 because 9 divided by 3 is 3. So 3 times 8 is 24. And 5 is alone, so we write 5, and that would be our answer. This is another example, but with division, and there's also a negative sign here. So what we do first is bring down the sign, and then we write the improper versions of these mixed numbers. So 1 6/7 would be 13/7, and 2 1/3 would be 7/3. But since this is division, we multiply by the reciprocal of this fraction, so we multiply by 3/7, and we can't simplify, so we go ahead and multiply, so we get -39/7. Quotient is the result of division. Fractions can be described as writing the quotient of two numbers. For example, 6 divided by 2 equals 3 is the same as 6/2 equals 3. So this process is the same when incorporating algebraic expressions. For example, here it says to write the quotient of 2x and 3. So we would write this like a normal fraction. So it would be 2x over 3. Some problems you can try on your own. The first says to write the quotient of mn and 4. So we write this as a regular fraction, mn in the numerator and 4 in the denominator. 2 says to write the quotient of the sum of x and y and 5. So sum means addition, so you would add x and y in the numerator, and then y would go by itself in the denominator. So 3 says to write the quotient of the difference of h and k and 2. Difference means subtraction, so we would subtract k from h, and that would be our numerator, and our denominator would be 2. Complex fraction is a fraction where the numerator and denominator contain another fraction of its own. For example, here it says to simplify the complex fraction 3/4 over 8. So here what we would do is first lay out the fractions. So 3/4 times 1/8, because we're dividing by 8. So we have to multiply by the reciprocal. So we take 1/8, and then we multiply normally, and we get 3/32. This is another example. Step 1 says to rewrite the complex fraction as a division problem. Step 2 says to divide the fractions, and step 3 says to simplify if possible. So here we have x over 2 over y over 4. So here we write x over 2 times the reciprocal of y over 4. So that would be 4 over y. And here we can simplify 2 and 4 because 4 divided by 2 is 2. So then we can multiply normally, and we would get 2x over y. Negatives can be written in both the denominator and numerator, and different signs result in a negative answer. So here the placement of negative signs in a fraction would be -a over b equals a over -b equals negative whole a over b. Here is an example. It asks which fractions are equivalent to -5/6. So as we saw before, a negative in either the numerator or denominator would result in the entire fraction being negative. So here the numerator and denominator have a negative, so these two are the right answers. But here there's two negatives and here there's no negatives, so these two answers would not work. In order to simplify fractions, we must simplify the numerator and denominator, and then we simplify the entire fraction. So here's an example. 2 plus 6 squared is 2 plus 36, which is 38. And then 4 is the same. And then we simplify that to 19 over 2. Here is another example. X squared plus 4x squared is 5x squared. So we simplify that over here. And then the denominator says 8 minus 2 whole squared. So 8 minus 2 is 6, and 6 squared is 36. So that would be our final answer.